I was really stressed out. I was anxious. I was losing my hair in clumps and all the things. And I actually started having digestive issues when, after literally the day I gave birth. I wasn't sure if it was like a pelvic floor injury or like I was so depleted from labor or what have you. But I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I lived my life like this for years, feeling this horrible. And I knew things were wrong. I knew I didn't feel my best, but like I just went on with it. And now that I've had the taste of honestly health freedom and feeling amazing for the most part, I'm like, I'll never go back.
I'm Brittany Lane, your host of the Innergize Effect Podcast. I was convinced that success, freedom, and happiness weren't for people like me. That if I wasn't born into wealth or didn't have the right connections, I'd never really make it. But after I had my daughter, I started questioning every single belief that told me I wasn't good enough. And what I've learned is that the biggest thing that kept me from my dream life was me. My limiting beliefs ran my life on autopilot until I broke through them. Now I wake up excited with more opportunities and success than I've ever had. And I want you to feel the same. This podcast is no fluff. No filters, just raw, real conversations about breaking through what's holding you back so that you can wake up every day with an energized belief that anything is possible. Let's get into it.
What made you get your thyroid tested? What were you experiencing?
Because I had diagnosed hypothyroid before, right? So I had it tested. My midwife would test it all through my pregnancy and just make sure everything's good. Because of course, thyroid issues can lead to miscarriages and all the things. And so I was working in this field too. I was very anxious through my pregnancy. I get the women who, for the most part, aren't having an easy time. And so I see we have a lot of successes, but women struggle. We see the miscarriages and all the things. And so I was very anxious going into it. So I was just keeping a pulse check on my thyroid. And then I didn't get it tested till about 6 months postpartum, and it was 32. And crazy. I was like, oh my gosh, I remember looking at the lab and like my jaw was on the floor. I was like, oh my God, how am I even breathing right now? Like, how am I alive? And all things considered, it's pretty crazy. This is another thing too. I talked about this on my Instagram yesterday because I went and got my thyroid checked again, and it's down to a 7, which is still really high. But all honestly from reducing stress and working on minerals, my thyroid is coming back online. But this is another thing. It's too, like, all things considered, at this point in my journey, I feel pretty good. Yes, I'm not sleeping as much as I would like to, obviously, with a 1-year-old. And I'm probably working still a little bit too much and all the things. In Alberta, we just got the sunlight last week. So it's been, thank you, God. It's been 6 months of winter hell. There's, all things considered, I feel pretty good. But before that, I was really stressed out. I was anxious. I was losing my hair in clumps and all the things. And I actually started having digestive issues when, after literally the day I gave birth. I wasn't sure if it was like a pelvic floor injury or like I was so depleted from labor or what have you. But I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I lived my life like this for years, feeling this horrible. And I knew things were wrong. I knew I didn't feel my best, but like I just went on with it. And now that I've had the taste of like honestly health freedom and feeling amazing for the most part, I'm like, I'll never go back. And again, to your point, it's like those little changes that you make when you start feeling a little bit better. Oh, this is how it feels to not need 3 cups of coffee a day, or used to, like, afternoon napper was a personality trait for me. It was like 2 p.m. I was so fried. I'm like, how am I needing a nap? I'm 23 years old. This is bananas. But I can't even fathom how I used to feel and how I lived that way. So it is those little pieces of evidence like, oh, things are going in the right direction to really get people back on the right track. And there's so much we can do that's free in terms of our lifestyle and our thoughts and our mentality and our mindset and all the things that anyone can be healthy. Anyone truly can be healthy.
Yeah, I know. It's so funny you say that. I was miserable. Like, I remember when I first had my daughter, and it's different but it was limiting beliefs, but I was like just thinking the worst of myself. My self-worth was so low. I know it's different, but again, like I think everyone, wherever you're feeling, whether it's like health symptoms or like thoughts or beliefs about yourself, like I could never go back to that girl. Like the thought, I'm like, how did I walk around and hate yourself and think you're shitty and suffer? And I'm like, wow, like I love to do all the things that make me feel good. But as like a mom, it's like we feel this guilt to do the things that we love, to take that time. And it's like I go to yoga, and before this year, I'm really focusing on, okay, this is good for me. Like I deserve this. But there was this guilt, like, oh, I'm away from my family. Oh, I should be at home. Oh, I could be playing with them. But I'm like, why am I not like prioritizing myself and my health and do the things that make me feel good? It's not like I'm at yoga for 8 hours a day, or it's 1 hour out of a day. Like, why would I feel guilty about that? And just doing, or like reaching out to someone like yourself and be like, hey, I want to get this test. Hey, spend the money, do the test. Doesn't mean you have to do the program, but if it's something that's calling to you, do it. Like, and don't feel guilty about it, because we're going to look back when we're 80 and be like, I'm so glad that I took those steps now, instead of wishing we would have.
Yeah. And this is why I say my background really comes from childhood to motherhood, because I can speak to the moms who are exhausted and not feeling like themselves anymore. And like they lost a piece of them when they had their baby. And we all love our children. Yeah. Obviously, it's the greatest blessing ever. But I was never meant to just be a mom. And there's a lot of women out there who it's like, I was born to be a mom. And I love that for you. Yeah. We all have different paths. But like, I feel like I was born onto this planet to help people get healthier, to help the world get healthier. And including my daughter and her children one day and her grandchildren, right? Again, breaking those patterns. And so I'm really here to speak to the mom who is feeling like guilty, to your point of, I had all these hobbies and it was me before, and now I'm just expected to be a mom. And the way I describe like going from 0 to 1 child is literally lifestyle whiplash. One day you're doing whatever the hell you want. Yeah. And then the next you're like, oh, that's over.
That's life.
Right? But again, to your point, getting back to it, it is your mental health. Yeah. I think physical health is truly mental health support. I think it's honestly violence prevention. I don't think that violent people are healthy. Yeah. I don't think mean people are healthy. So imagine setting that example for your children of what it looks like to take care of yourself and how that truly changes the world. But again, going back to me as a kid, little Jen. Yeah. My mom, we couldn't do things because we knew that mom had to go home to nap every day, 2-hour nap. And we couldn't leave the house when she was napping because no one else could watch us, or we had to leave the zoo early. Like, these are actual childhood memories I had, where my childhood was not as, I guess, fun, if you will, in terms of my relationship with my parents, because they were sick. Yeah. So it's like you taking that hour to go to yoga, to fill your own cup, to improve your mental health, to improve your clarity. And, you know, you're going to be more present with your kids because you have filled your own cup and you're moving your body and you're showing them that example. That actually is being a better mom than you sitting there feeling like a bag of shit and scrolling on your phone because you're trying to distract yourself from how terrible you feel, and not being able to play with your kids, and not being able to do things, or even from a financial perspective. Yeah. I talked about how my parents lost their jobs because they were sick. Mm-hmm. And you don't have to have a lot of money to be a great parent, but it sure helps relieve a lot of stress that is also going to impact your health. Yeah. I don't think you can be super successful for the most part if you feel like shit every day and you have to have a 3-hour nap. There's so many factors that tie into it. And so I really love to speak from that child, Jen, where I'm like, actually, your child will be so much happier when you take care of yourself. And that's coming from my own personal experience.
Yeah, 100%. It changed my perspective too. I tell my daughter now, like, when I'm like, I'm going to yoga, and when she's like, oh, are you going to? And I'm like, you know what, babe, like, this is what I hope when you're a mom, that you always know that, like, you have to take care of yourself too, and that you're important. And then she like clicks, and then that just makes that little statement saying to her changes my perspective. And I'm like, and it clicked for her. And I'm like, I know yours is probably too little to say that. It's harder when they're younger, but like mine's 7 now, and she like understands. And I'm like, we are changing the generations. And I think it starts with us. Our generation is changing everything, because our parents, they listened to the doctor. They took the meds. They didn't question authority. And I think our generation is questioning everything. Yeah. Authority, parenting, beliefs. We are just like, fuck everything that we used to believe, and like, we're starting fresh. So also that is putting us at a harder place too. We're healing ourselves while being parents, and that is a really tricky spot. So I think just giving ourselves grace and like little wins. This isn't easy, but you're doing the best you can, and you're changing so that your children don't, like you said, have to go through it.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Okay, so we went on a tangent, but I love it because it's so relevant. But Kate, so let's get into gut health. So I think I myself didn't realize that hormones and gut health are connected. And I personally have had horrible gut health also, and this is so interesting that I'm having hormonal issues, but I did fitness competitions in my early 20s and I destroyed my gut. I remember being so constipated, and through all my 20s I couldn't go to the bathroom without taking a laxative. And I broke my leg 2 years ago, and last year after my third surgery they put me on antibiotics for 6 months. Yeah, I had severe bone infection. And so so mangled my gut. And I feel that is so much correlated with my miscarriage and now also my hormonal acne that I'm having. But Jenn, tell us, I'm going off a tangent, but what is gut health and why is it such a big deal when it comes to acne, digestion, and mood?
Yeah. Okay. So your gut really is at the center of all your other systems. So I'm going to give you a little science lesson. We have something called drainage pathways. Do you know what that is?
Nope.
Okay. So your drainage pathways or your detox pathways, people call them different things. It's essentially the route in your body that toxins will pass through to leave the body. So basically your natural detox.
Yeah.
You know how people say, oh, you don't need a detox. That's what you have a liver for, right? This is it. Okay. So we have at the very top of our funnel, we have our cells and our mitochondria. So cellular waste, right? That gets passed into what we call the lymphatic system. So this is actually a newer scientific discovery, if you will. And it's the glial cells, so the brain and your lymphatic system. So your brain, science now knows that your brain detoxes and gets rid of toxins and passes it into your lymphatic system when you sleep, and primarily only when you sleep, because when we're awake, our brain is processing information and doing all the things. So this is your push. If you're listening and you're like, I don't prioritize sleep, this is actually impacting your brain's ability to detox. And we could get into things like Alzheimer's and all the things neurological that could be impacted with poor brain health. So poor detoxification. So brain goes into your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system, of course, carries viruses and proteins, and if you get sick, you have swollen lymph nodes, that is stagnation in your lymphatic system. We see a lot of acne with lymphatic stagnation because your lymph is right beneath your skin. So if toxins can't get out through the lymph, they come out through your skin.
Makes sense.
And the way we work with so many women with skin issues, psoriasis, acne, eczema, all the things. And I always say the skin issues are inflammation we can see. Where is the inflammation we can't see that it's stemming from? So this could be a lymphatic issue. We see it a lot. It could be a gut health issue, which I'll get into. Your lymphatic system then, dumps, if you will, toxins into your liver, your kidneys, your bile. So depending on where it's going, obviously it'll process through different systems, but goes into your liver, we'll call it. And then of course your liver produces your bile. Your bile is your body's most potent detoxification fluid. So it's going to get rid of toxins, pesticides, chemicals. It's obviously going to help emulsify fats and help you digest things. And then that bile gets dumped into the gut. Okay. So we have now completed, in the most part, this whole pathway of getting rid of toxins. Gets dumped in the gut. What happens in the gut? We should poop it out. We should poop out those toxins that just went through our whole body. The problem is with constipation, particularly, is when you are not pooping, where is that going? It's just sitting in your body. It's getting reabsorbed back into the bloodstream. Yeah. And this is where we start to see toxins start to accumulate and symptoms really start to increase. And stagnation doesn't necessarily have to be just in the gut. You could be going poop twice a day and have a good kind of colon pathway, but maybe your liver is congested. Maybe your lymphatic system's congested. Maybe you're sleeping 4 hours a night. Maybe you're doing shift work. So we have to figure out where that stagnation is and work on the whole pathway so things start flowing. So to your point, if we get to the gut and either either we're not pooping or there's some sort of bacterial imbalance. First of all, your liver and your gut are on a bidirectional plane. So what impacts your gut is going to impact your liver and vice versa. Interestingly enough, when I was 24, when I had all my really severe gut issues, I was diagnosed with fatty liver, which I now know is highly correlated to SIBO, or small intestinal bacteria overgrowth. So I think I had undiagnosed SIBO.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you can see how this would be a 5-hour podcast, figuring out all the connections and what is attached to what. But really, the gut is the center of where you should start, in my belief. And this is why we run gut tests on all our one-on-one clients. Because again, if you are not getting rid or absorbing your nutrients or processing through the colon, everything else above it is getting stagnated. So we want to start with the gut, then you can start supporting your liver and then your lymphatic system. You can support them at the same time, but I'm talking about more intensive protocols. If someone was really constipated, I probably wouldn't put them on. I wouldn't tell them to go get lymphatic drainage massages. Because again, you're getting rid of those toxins, but then it's just sitting in the gut and reabsorbing. So that is why gut is really centric to everything I do. And from a hormonal perspective, your hormones go through your liver to get processed. Same thing. If you're constipated, where's your estrogen going? It's getting reabsorbed back into your bloodstream. Now you're estrogen dominant. Now you have thyroid issues. Now you have acne. Now you have heavy, painful periods. You can't get pregnant. Like all the things. You have endometriosis. All the estrogen related issues start to play out. And this is why I say targeting hormones is a very band-aid approach. And this is where I have a little bit of a bone to pick with a lot of naturopaths and even functional doctors these days, because it almost feels like that is now becoming Western medicine just with supplements.
While I have you, I want to ask you a question. Do you know the quickest way to become your most authentic self? The version of you who is capable of anything and feels exhilarating to be. The version of you that calls in wealth, love, and your dream life where anything is possible. Here it is. We usually have a major block that we don't see. But once we discover it and know it, we become aware of it. And that's when we can start to make changes, even unconsciously. So uncover your block to become the best version of you with this free quiz linked in the description. It's the same quiz that's helped me and so many others uncover what's holding us back.
It's, oh, you have low vitamin D, here's some vitamin D. It's what? Am I a vampire? Am I sitting in my basement? Why am I not absorbing or holding on to vitamin D? Do I have inflammation? Is it a magnesium deficiency? What is going on? And so I see that happening with hormone issues now. Oh, my doctor, my naturopath put me on DIM. DIM pulls out estrogen really effectively. And now they've been on DIM for 2 years. And now they have postmenopausal estrogen at the age of 30. Because you didn't actually figure out why your estrogen's high. Is it coming from the gut? Is it coming from the liver? Is it coming from your environment, toxins, endocrine disruptors, like all of the things. So again, that is why we really start with the gut and we work our way up. Essentially.
Yeah, it's like they're not finding the root. It's like we're just masking. We're putting like, it's like basically you have a pile of shit and you just put ice cream on top. It's, oh, it looks yummy, delicious now, but what's really underneath there is, and I don't know if that's a good analogy, but I'm like shit, but yeah.
Yeah, and exactly, that's to my point. It's okay, you can take supplements to make yourself feel better. And I do not think if you're constipated, taking magnesium citrate, is that a bad idea? No, not necessarily, but should it be the only thing you do? Also no. So I'm very much, let's get you comfortable, let's get you feeling better, because to your point, what we talked about, you'll start being more compliant to your new lifestyle and your diet and your exercise when you start seeing those changes. So yes, let's get you on some supplements that are going to improve your energy and maybe help bring your estrogen down a little bit. But you better believe I'm not just sending you on your way and then you get off the supplements 6 months later and all your issues come back because you never actually fixed the root.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just going to keep masking. So Jenn, what are some major signs that someone's gut or hormones are out of balance? What might they be experiencing or noticing?
So this is a tough one because it really could be anything. Yeah. So, you know, some people will be like, oh, I don't have gut issues. I'm not constipated. But again, it could be dysbiosis. Maybe you're bloating after you eat, which is not normal, right? Maybe it is you have stomach pains. Maybe it is you're constipated, you have diarrhea, you fluctuate back and forth. Maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's you have acne. Maybe it's your hair is falling out because you're not absorbing your nutrients, and hair is not vital to survival, right? This is postpartum in a nutshell. Everyone loses their hair because your body has been sucked dry of everything.
And you have the whiskers later.
I know. I've got like little little, everything's coming back now.
Bangs, new bangs.
Yeah. Like my Bridgerton bangs are super good. No, but your body has been sucked dry, right? So is beautiful long hair vital for you to survive and to keep your child alive? No. So that's the first thing that's going to go. So that's the problem, is there's so many symptoms. And let's talk about genetics for a quick second, because genetics do, of course, play a part. Going back to my story about my mom, my mom's doctor, actually, she's a champ. She knows what I do. She will listen to me, and she's on board. She's very much, she even told me on my last appointment when my thyroid came back crazy, she was like, do you want medication? And I was like, no. I'm like, I've done this before. I know what to do. Just give me time. Yeah. And she literally said, she's like, the body can cure cancer. So I believe you. You can do it. Let's just wait. And I'm like, oh my God, it is so refreshing to hear a Western medicine doctor think of the body in such high regard, honestly. So she's great. And when my mom came back really mold sick, I sent my mom to the doctor and I said, can you ask her to run this genetic test? Because this is off topic, but about a quarter of the population has what's called HLA-DR genetic mutation, if you will, or gene. And that specific gene does not allow your body, will not detox mold on its own. And that is why people will live in mold and one spouse is fine and the other is super sick. And they're like, you're crazy. I feel fine. It's not the house. Mold's not the issue. This is where genetics play a part. So Chris, my husband, lived in the very moldy house with us when we were in our 20s. So my parents had that house. We rented it off them. I started getting more of my thyroid issues, my Hashimoto's, all the things. He's completely fine. He didn't skip a beat.
Guys are just like that. Hey, it's like somehow I'm like, how are you just like rolling with it? Like,
I know. Smells coffee, goes for a poo. I'm like, perfect. Must be nice.
Smells it. Doesn't even have to touch his lips, just like that. That's why they're always in the bathroom. Makes sense.
So anyways, my mom came back with this genetic mutation. And I was like, I can guarantee my dad probably has it. I can guarantee I probably have it. This is why I have to work a little harder. Going back to the gut, this is where it's important to have more of that macro wide lens view. Because again, someone's listening to this, they're like, I don't get bloating and I don't have constipation, but you have acne, but you can't lose weight, but you have joint pain, but you're exhausted every day. This is where genes really can play a part in how you experience dysfunction. So I will have conversations with women all the time who are thinking about working with me and my team, and they're like, can you help X? Can you help me with X? Of course I can. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to cure your cancer, but of course I can, because what caused your endometriosis might have caused my hypothyroid, but it's your genetics. If we had the same gut issue, maybe your genetics go toward PCOS or, you know, whatever the symptom is, fill in the blank, whereas mine was more of that thyroid issue. Everyone in my family has thyroid issues. I was not shocked at all when I was diagnosed hypothyroid, right? I was like, oh yeah, I was waiting for this. So that is, my dysfunction portrays that way. So that is also why I don't like people getting too stuck on symptoms, because I don't really care about the symptom. I care about why the symptom is there. And when we fix, again, the root of the issue, or at least get closest to the root as possible, that is when your symptoms will start relieving. And it isn't necessarily a gut issue, but it's a gut issue.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. So what would you see the difference, like somebody that has gone through your program or somebody who has a healthy gut, what does that look like versus someone with an unhealthy gut?
So from like a lab perspective, I will tell you, we've definitely gotten cleaner labs back than others, but I've never ever had a lab come back, a GI map specifically, that had nothing off. Never. Literally not once. And that's, of course, because I'm working with people with symptoms, right? They're coming with us or coming to us to resolve some sort of health issue. But there is nothing ever not wrong, because, and this is very foreign to someone who's gone through Western medicine, and it's not, your labs are normal, right?
We're all good.
It's like, you will never find your labs are normal ever once. We've worked with over 1,000 women just in our one-on-one practice. I've never seen a normal lab, because we know what we're looking for. We're looking deeper than what the doctor is looking at. And so when you know what to look at, you're going to find issues. That's what it is. But then again, going back to my thyroid saga. It's like, I also don't want people getting so over reliant on labs that they feel like they become a little bit of a hypochondriac in a way.
Like obsessed
right?
with it. It's like, I need to check it.
Exactly. And I get questions all the time. Should I retest? I'm like, do you still have symptoms that you're dealing with before? If so, then yeah, let's retest.
Yeah.
But if you feel way better, why would we retest?
Yeah.
My job is to make you feel better. Mm-hmm. If you feel better, like if we run all the labs, you're always going to find something.
Yeah.
But like, I want to teach you how to maintain the health you have. And maybe in 2 years, when you want to do a quote unquote checkup, then we rerun the labs. But again, going back to my thyroid, it's like my TSH is a 7, which by all accounts is horrific. Mm-hmm. And we want to see it under a 2, between 1 and 2, and I'm a 7. And I feel fine. So I'm not freaking out. It's a good pulse check and where I can tweak things, but I'm not going to go sit and cry over it because I feel good. So what more could I ask for?
Yeah, I think that's a good, like, just a check-in piece. Like, I think sometimes we want this confirmation that we're okay, but it's like, we're not really used to checking into our own body. Like I myself, like, we didn't talk about emotions as a kid. I know this is a side point, but it's like now trying to like check into emotions, it's been like a challenge, but it's like we really have to like sit in how we're feeling. Put away the phone, turn off the TV, shut off the radio, sit in silence. And that's so uncomfortable for so many of us, but it's like, really, it's what is our body? Because it's always speaking to us, but we just want, okay, tell me I'm good. And then, or give me the labs, or it's like, we want this confirmation, but if we really listened, we would actually hear, 100%. You know, just like you said, you're at a 7, but like you still feel good. So that's your own internal body. It's like probably telling you like, hey, we're still healing this, but you're good now. Like we're on the right path. And so you don't feel that, oh my God, panic.
Yeah, I feel like we need another podcast episode just on this because I have my one-on-one program where we really dig into the gut health and all the things. And then I have a group program called Renew Your Energy. And we get a lot of postpartum mamas, and this is where we do the mineral testing. Yeah. And this is really the core of what we work on, is more of that emotional stuff. Mm-hmm. And at the beginning, I always say to my clients, your job for this first week is to be bored. Yeah. And they're like, what? It's like, when was the last time you sat on your couch and just stared at the wall? Like we did that all the time when we were kids. Now we're so distracted. We're like stuck in this completely dopamine dysregulating loop of going from Facebook to Instagram to TikTok to Facebook to, it's like, why am I doing this? Why am I distracting myself? Yeah. And it really is about getting back to, understanding your body. And we could go in so many directions with this. It's the clients who don't want to track food. Mm-hmm. You can't eat intuitively until you eat intentionally. Yeah. You have been living in this state of fog for so long that you actually don't even know how food makes you feel. Mm-hmm. So how am I going to tell you to eat intuitively when you have no intuition left? You have to bring that back online. Yeah. Or women on birth control. Oh, you have period problems? You have painful periods? Here's a pill. Yeah. Oh, you have a headache? Here's an Advil. Yeah. Oh, you have this? Here's another pill to take away the pain. Mm-hmm. So we have just been so conditioned as a society to numb out everything and not listen to our bodies. Mm-hmm. And it does take some time for that to start coming back online and for us to be more keenly aware. If something's off in my body, I know right away. Yeah. Ooh, the pain in my knee. Whereas like someone else would just keep going and then not notice for 2 weeks that their knee is hurting. So it really is a process. But yeah, this is really what we work on. And again, going back to childhood, it's like, were you parentified? Are you a people pleaser? Are you emotional suppression? And that's why you're on Instagram all the time, because sitting with your thoughts is too scary. Yeah. So your brain, there's so many ways we can go down. But yeah, I really focus on that with mineral testing because mineral testing is really interesting. We're going to run your tests.
I literally was just thinking, I'm like, I need to know. I'm like, we're talking after.
Yeah, it's really cool because if you get a good practitioner for an HTMA, they can see from the physical side of things, but you can also see trauma patterns and stress with your minerals. We see this a lot. If your calcium, for example, is really high on your mineral test, which means calcium is in your soft tissue, it can be your body trying to numb you out from a past trauma. So this is why some people will feel really numb and apathetic and disconnected, because it's actually a physiological response to your emotions of your body trying to protect you. And this is also why a lot of women postpartum, they fluctuate from the calcium shell, we call it, to the copper toxicity. Copper toxicity is very common through pregnancy because we're not detoxing copper. Our estrogen retains it, all the things. But copper toxicity, copper is very stimulating. So when we then have too much copper postpartum, which I'm copper toxic right now as well, copper is stimulating. It makes you feel very emotional. So women will go from like feeling really disconnected, apathetic, numb to like flying off the handle, snapping at their kids, and then feeling really guilty about it. And you're stuck and you're like, oh my God, why do I feel crazy? But it's actually mineral dysregulation that is affecting your emotions. So there's so many interesting ways to really navigate all different symptoms from the emotional and the physiological perspective tied into one.
That's amazing. And that makes so much sense, because what I do with like hypnotherapy is like, I say every emotion that we don't process is stored in the body. We can be experiencing symptoms because of stored emotions, but that makes so much sense that then there's like a physiological, there's too much calcium. So that is like wild. We'll have to work together, because this is like so interesting to me. It makes so much sense, because who I was before I started healing through hypnotherapy, like with my own, I would sit on my phone and scroll, because in the quiet, all these like limiting beliefs and negative thoughts and all of these, I felt so just ungood in my body. And the first time I ever did a hypnotherapy session, I released so much anger, and there was just this like lightness in my chest. And I guarantee there was probably, again, some sort of mineral or storage buildup of something there that actually released it like mentally, but then also probably presented physically. So that's so interesting. And that makes so much sense. It's so wild how much our childhood can impact us, but if we're mindful and open to healing and being in those moments, just how much we really can heal and change.